YouTube right now. Yeah. We've got it, man. We've got it. It'll be like, oh no. Hey, we're live. The Chaps Chat Cats.
Didn't get to do our normal intro.
No,
I was waiting
no
for
sound, no soundboard.
There was too much awkwardness to begin with.
Absolutely. Welcome.
There's one watching. Is that us?
I don't know. Probably.
Are we
It's
watching?
probably just us.
My body keeps disappearing into the ether.
It's crazy. Sam's ghosting in and out of reality. What a game.
What a win, more importantly.
what a
I mean,
win.
it was a game. I did say, even if we, about 7 minutes to go, I think I said, even if we lose this one, there's lots to love. But we didn't. We fucking didn't.
We did not, Sam. And like, I just like off the top, how lucky.
This.
What is this?
Just part of the
Just part of the
microphone going
microphone.
through.
Yeah, don't look at that.
Yeah, that's hideous.
What a club to support.
Little prop here.
Prop.
The wrong kind of football, but it'll.
Yeah, that's all right. What a club to support the Cats. How lucky to be Cats.
I was gonna say such a good time, but when is it not a good time to be supporting the Cats? Really, this is just an embarrassment of riches. Has my footballing fandom been, and a really important win. Like before the game, we kind of said, like in our preview and stuff, we kind of went, if we don't win this one, we won't go to second. Blah blah blah. It'd be nice to win, but it didn't feel that vital. But once we saw the kind of game we were in for, this pattern of getting up and then being smashed through the middle of the game. It became really important. In quarter 3, it suddenly became really important for this to be a game that we can come out and hold on and win. So the fact that we did was fucking beautiful, because had we lost, we could have taken a lot of positives away, and maybe we should move on to that. But I guess we'll keep it pretty brief. But to actually win that specific kind of game, because that was a tough game of football. That was, apart from the first quarter, which was kind of piss easy. Yeah. The rest of the game of football was tough. It was a brutal game.
Well, like they came out, the Cats, and looked like so sharp. Like I thought,
switched on
from the offing. It was just like, holy crap, they've really come out. And I guess they did against the Dogs as well.
Yes,
but this game, it's just the crispness that they were moving the ball with, the pressure. It felt like a final.
Yeah,
for one, like intensity, the endeavor to move the ball, the intent to attack, and all that sort of thing. So, like that was so good to see, especially because everyone was a little bit down last week after the win over the Eagles. To see the Cats come out and really come out hard and come out fast and come out switched on was really good. And I mean, you kind of knew that Tiger surge was going to come.
Yes,
eventually.
Yeah. We thought it would come after the T-Stew hit, which it didn't. But then it came after that silly business in the middle where Cameron and a few others were having at it, and then it seemed to be after that we really got put in our place, and the Tigers really fired up. But lots to love. Stengel performed against a good side, which we've been asking for a few weeks. So some of my questions about him were certainly put to rest.
Yeah, like and the effort level too, like he kicked 3 goals, but if you look at most of his games this year, he's kicked 3 goals.
Yeah,
like that's.
But 3 goals in that game is very different than 3 goals last week or something,
Yeah, and the ability to set up, like he was so involved. I mean, he was the one that snapped that ball in. After Adkins won that last clearance, and I'll salivate over Adkins in a minute, but like after winning that clearance, then it went to Stengel and then into Henry. Yeah. Like, and the pressure that he did, it was only a few minutes earlier where I can't remember if he had a chase down. Did he kick? No, he kicked a goal. That's right. After he kicked his goal, and then it went back to the center. Then Richmond won a clearance and he was chasing back into the defensive
half. Chasing for about 65 meters,
which is sort of something we've said, like, is that something he's going to be able to bring consistently? Like he's bringing his goal kicking. Is he going to be able to lift? We thought of sort of thought there were a few of them who their second efforts maybe left a bit to be desired, and he was one of them, but not tonight.
No.
This is his best game, in my opinion.
Definitely, yeah, definitely, because he showed up when we needed it, not just when the getting was good. And yeah, I put him up there with Atkins and Close as some of the game winners for us.
Adkins, sensational. Like, I think it's second time. It's at least the second time in 2 weeks, if not second. Maybe it was 3. I know he broke his personal best for clearances at some point in the last couple of games. I'm pretty sure it was last week, and he shattered it again. I think his previous best was 5. He had 8 tonight. 21 touches. 13 of his 21 touches were contested. Had the most contested ball for the Cats, most clearances, second most tackles behind Cam Guthrie. Like, his rise, like, something clicked, and we reckon it's after that Collingwood game. Copped a fine, I think. For
nearly copped a suspension, copped a fine.
Smacking, was it him that smacked Ginnivan around or something?
Yes, it was. Dumped him like a sack of potatoes.
He's a bleached sack of potatoes. his game.
I wish I could say it's the first time we said bleached sack on the podcast.
We need a counter.
Yeah.
His game has just gone to another level. Adkins, it's so good. Like,
he's becoming a Jenga player, possibly.
Absolutely. Like, we talked about who the most important midfielder is for the Cats at the moment on Twitter, and a lot of people said Selwood, when the big moment's on the line, it's Selwood who's still there. Tonight, they go in front, it goes back to the middle, and we're like, fuck, we need a clearance here. And it was Adkins, raging bull.
Yeah, he's possibly the second coming of Selwood. The Selwood Phoenix rising from the ashes of the career.
Talk about Brad Close.
Talk about Brad Close. I feel like I've talked a lot about Brad Close in the past, and so it's really just ad nauseum repeating how good he is. Like, for a little guy, we've seen him do some incredible things. Tackling the Bont against the Dogs, that's not an easy feat to tackle, let alone catch, holding the ball. And he's just a workhorse, but he does have those moments like that where he just stands up and he really makes people take notice of him. And tonight was full of those moments, absolutely full of those moments. Some of the clutch passages of play he had, it just seems like he was so cool under pressure when there was so much pressure, so much opportunity for a pretty young bloke to sort of like get down in the dumps, as a lot of the rest of the team were. But he just never stopped working. And that's, the game winners aren't the ones who are playing really well when we're up and about. It's the ones that are playing well when we're down, and it was him and Atkins all night that just did not give up. And I love Closey. I think he's going to get better and better too. Like, I don't think he's yet even had his Atkins moment, where he just suddenly makes people take notice consistently. Maybe the back half of this year, maybe next year. I think at some point he'll bulk up a little more. I think he'll get a little more strength. He'll get even more sure in his body. And he'll be a real force to contend with when he's doing this kind of stuff at the size he is now and at the level that he's at now. If he could get just a little more strength and a little more confidence in throwing himself around, he'd be unstoppable.
Well, I don't have a number for it, but like, his fucking work rate and his running, like, he works back, works forward, works up into the through the midfield. Such a smart player. Like, the way he links up with people. I just love him to bits. Eli says Atkins and Selwood, our best clearance players right now. I'd agree with that 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Jack Johnson, surprised you guys were alive to react to this. It was touch and go there at the end.
Hooked up to a couple of heart monitors and stuff to make sure we were still going.
Exactly. Even the podcasters for Geelong are old.
Yes.
Had
our Rolling Stones blood transfusions and we're right to go.
What do you think of De Koning?
Questionable
challenge.
Some questionable moments. I think he got knocked around a little bit. He looked a little bit like he looked at the end of last year when we kind of theorized that he wasn't happy, wasn't at home in the defense, that he wanted to be up forward, that his mind was on the goals at the other end. Proved that wrong for the majority of this year. And just something about tonight, I guess the occasion, the vibe at the G.
Just the vibe of the
thing.
It's
Marbo.
It's just the vibe
of the thing. The energy around the crowd and such was pretty full on, and I get the impression that I've always had the impression that Richmond's one of those teams that aren't gonna give it to you nicely. That's me putting it nicely about how Richmond won't give it to you nicely. And I think it maybe got to him a little bit. He did some really important stuff.
Yeah.
But he dislocated his finger, I believe, and had to get it popped back in, and looked a little shaken after that. And just in general, it looked like he was, like they were probably up in his ribs a little bit, up in his ear a bit on stuff, and he just caved to it, which is natural for a young player. I think he still pulled through and did some really important stuff for us, but I think it was not his best night, but I'm not hard on him about it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to go back and have a look, and obviously we'll do our full podcast with Johnny, who was at the game tonight. We'll do our full podcast on Monday night and really get into it. I'll be interested to go back and have a look at like some of the impact of players like Holmes. Sometimes watching the game, you've only got time to look at so much sort of thing. And I'll be interested to go and have a look at what some of those other players did.
Even Guthrie. Guthrie's one of those ones we saw a lot, but it was always a blur. It's very hard to tell with Guthrie when it was a clear possession or disposal, and when it was a pressure act or something. He's just all over the ground, so you don't necessarily look at him all the time. But then at the end of those kind of games, he can be way up there statistically.
Yeah, totally. And I tell you what, do you want to talk at all about the Stewart thing, or we just address that on Monday night? What do you think of it?
It was pretty rough. I think it was extreme of the broadcast to say 5-6 weeks. That seemed
Channel 7 being
that seemed brutal to me. Fox. It was Fox. Yeah. That seemed pretty brutal. I would say I'm hoping for 2 weeks. I'd accept 3 weeks. It was one of those things. It was the thing that works in his favor. It was in the moment. It looks pretty bad on a slow-mo replay, but when you watch it at full speed, the ball only just leaves the guy's hand.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things. If he had dragged it down, that player, it was probably game on from Stewart for what he'd done, but he made the decision and the guy tapped it. Yeah. And so it looks really bad. I think if the match review take all that into account, they'll see that it wasn't necessarily his intention. But I could see them looking at it, like taking it less favorably. I think he deserves to sit down. I think he deserves to sit down and have a think about that and realize that, we've said before, he turns players into red mist sometimes. When a tackle would have done, he sometimes goes the bump.
Yeah.
And that's a fine line because that's important to the team.
Yeah.
Letting the opposition know that you're there and you're not going to lie down is really important. But then you can tip over that line like Dangerfield did last season, where you're being a bit silly and you're being a bit reckless about other people's safety. And I think 2 weeks on the sideline for him to sort of have a bit of a think and a reflect on where that line is and how we can continue to toe that line. I think that'll be fine.
Absolutely. We can get into sort of what that'll mean and all that sort of stuff later down the track. Let's revel just a little bit more in this instant react, and then we'll fuck off and do something else.
Yes.
People have got to get on with their Saturday night.
Yeah, there's another game of football on.
No goals for Tommy Hawkins.
No.
Which it's such a positive. Imagine last year if you go back, Tommy Hawkins didn't kick a goal.
Well, we did. Was it the
Oh, sorry, not last. I mean, prior to Cameron being there.
Yeah, but it was 2019, wasn't it? In the final when
your memory's better than mine.
No, I just saw them recap it because they shoved it in our face at halftime.
Oh, okay.
when the broadcast recap the game,
just grand final or whatever.
Yeah, they only went through the finals. It was the grand final, was the prelim, one or the other. Hawkins didn't kick a goal, and we had nothing without him kicking goals. We had nothing. So as you say, it's a real positive that he can kick no goals, and we still kick a bag full of goals, and could have kicked more if we had had our kicking boots on. It goes both ways. Tigers kicked some easy ones, and missed some easy ones. But the fact that we've got Cameron and Stengel and Henry as well tonight to step up and fill the spot. I mean, Hawkins kicking no goals and you don't have Rowan, and yet we still kick enough goals to do the job.
I think it's an interesting question, with Rowan going out and you get to keep Guthrie in the side, Zach. He played well.
Yeah, solid as. He's a starter for me every week. I don't care.
So does Henry just go forward?
Certainly when there's a player down, I think you would put Hawkins, Rowan, and Cameron up there over Henry if you've got the choice. Maybe drop Henry back. Maybe O'Connor goes out. Or you push O'Connor further up because O'Connor played very, very far back.
Yeah.
He was all the way in the deep waters tonight. So you could push him up and put Henry back. There's a few options, but I think it's nice to have a player that you could have down back or push up and he kicks a couple of goals. A match winner, in fact.
Bloody clutch from Henry. First goal of the night, last goal of the night.
Yeah, or second and last. Yeah, I can't remember if he first or the
Crazy
second.
stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and his ability to like clunk the ball cleanly, like that last mark that he took was
to not get it first time and then not lose sight of it and take it as you smash onto the ground.
Foxy.
Foxy.
Hey guys, Foxy here. What a win by the Cats. Heartstopper, eh? It was an absolute heartstopper. Thankfully, not literally. Couldn't meet up with Johnny, unfortunately. That's a shame. But
a meeting of worlds would have been nice.
That's right. We know Ben from the Hoops got to go and walk around the MCG and meet Johnny.
Uncle Framo was there.
Yeah, Uncle Framo was there. Don't think he deigned John with an audience.
Wow.
So no, wouldn't
It's a busy
have
man.
expected it. What a Carlton draft to be drunk at the MCG. We'll definitely try and get along. I don't know if we'll make it to a men's match this year or not. We might
I'd love
make
to.
AFLW definitely,
Yes.
but yeah. That about it?
I think so. I think we've waffled on for a fairly long time for
Excellent.
a live react. I don't know how long these things are meant to go.
No idea. That feels
Sounds
about
right.
right.
How do you guys feel?
Yeah.
That's right.
So we will be back on Monday night. We'll do a full recap pod with Johnny.
Full recap.
Once he's back up this way, we'll also going to try and hit an AFLW news episode because there's been a few bits and pieces go on for the
things
Cats.
to discuss.
And there'll also be a little bit of a lead into the draft. Not that we have to cover that extensively because my knowledge of, AFL men's prospect is limited. My knowledge of AFLW prospect pretty limited. But we'll definitely hit a news episode for you for the AFLW as well. So multiple episodes coming. Enjoy your weekend, guys.
Revel in that victory.
Glorious. Go Cats.
Go Cats. Now the awkward time.